California's tourism board would pay actual money to make sure you never see this video, because today I'm counting down the 12 most hated towns in the Golden State. We've got a town sitting 223 feet below sea level next to a lake that's actively dying. A city that was designed to be the next Los Angeles and instead became a grid of empty streets in the desert. A place where the state legislature literally tried to delete the entire city from the map. And a town where the smell alone has traumatized an entire generation of road trippers. And number 2 on this list is a place you would never ever expect. It has fewer than 300 residents, and your dinner has probably been there. If this sounds like your kind of road trip, hit that subscribe button, because this is the only channel where the property values and my life expectancy drop at the same rate. Let's count it down. Number 12, Needles. Needles sits on the Arizona border along Old Route 66, and it is routinely one of the hottest inhabited places in America, regularly posting temperatures over 120 degrees. Charles Schultz, the creator of Peanuts, lived here briefly as a kid, which is why Snoopy's desert-dwelling brother Spike lives outside Needles in the comics, alone, with a cactus. The gas prices here are so notoriously brutal that locals routinely drive across the Colorado River into Arizona to fill up, which means the town's own residents boycott the town. The heat is punishing, the jobs are scarce, and the crime rate runs well above the national average. Needles isn't hated because it's evil. It's hated because even a cartoon dog looked at it and chose the cactus. Number 11, Barstow. Barstow exists for one reason, and everybody knows it. It sits almost exactly halfway between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, which means millions of people stop here every year, and almost none of them stay a minute longer than the bathroom line requires. The crime rate runs roughly double the national average, and residents tell reporters they avoid going out after dark. To be fair, Barstow gave America something real. The first Del Taco opened here in 1964. But when your economy is built entirely on people who are actively trying to leave, that does something to a place. Barstow is the town equivalent of a waiting room. Everyone passes through. Nobody looks up. Number 10, Mandota. Mandota calls itself the Cantaloupe Center of the world, and it sits in the western San Joaquin Valley, surrounded by some of the most productive farmland on earth. It is also one of the poorest towns in California. During drought years, when water allocations get cut and the fields go fallow, unemployment here has spiked past 30%, Depression-era numbers in a state with the 4th largest economy on the planet. The town is isolated, hours from any major city, with limited transit and few options for young people. The people of Mandota feed millions of Americans who could not find it on a map. That's not a punchline. That's just the arrangement, and it has been for decades. Number 9. Kingolinga. If you have ever driven Interstate 5 between Los Angeles and San Francisco, you have already met Kingolinga. You met it with your nose. The massive Harris Ranch feedlot nearby holds tens of thousands of cattle, and the smell rolls across the freeway like a physical event. Entire families have memories of the moment Dad said, "Roll up the windows," but the smell is honestly the least of it. In 1983, a magnitude 6.7 earthquake essentially flattened downtown Kingolinga, and the town never fully recovered. Today, one of its largest employers is a state hospital that houses some of California's most dangerous offenders. A town that smells like a feedlot, shakes like a fault line, and banks on a forensic hospital. Kingolinga doesn't have a rebrand problem. It has a reality problem. Number 8. Adelanto. Adelanto's official motto is, "The city with unlimited possibilities," and I need you to hold that phrase in your mind while I tell you what actually happened here. This high desert town of about 38,000 people built its economy on prisons and detention centers, and its city hall built its reputation on something else entirely. In 2017, a city councilman was arrested by the FBI for taking a bribe from an undercover agent, and separately, for allegedly trying to hire someone to burn down his own restaurant for the insurance money. In 2018, federal agents raided City Hall and the mayor's home in a corruption investigation tied to the town's marijuana licensing boom. The city tried to reinvent itself as a legal cannabis hub, and the corruption allegations followed the money like they always do. Unlimited possibilities. They weren't lying. They just never specified which ones. Number 7. Bombay Beach. In 1905, engineers accidentally breached a canal, and the entire Colorado River poured into a desert basin for 2 years, creating the Salton Sea, California's largest lake, completely by mistake. By the 1950s, Bombay Beach on its shore was a glamorous resort drawing Frank Sinatra and the Beach Boys. Then the lake started dying. With no outlet, the water grew saltier and more polluted every year. Massive fish die-offs carpeted the beaches in bones. The tourists fled, the water receded, and the exposed lakebed now sends toxic dust into the air that contributes to some of the worst childhood asthma rates in the state. Today, a few hundred people remain, 223 feet below sea level, alongside artists who now host an annual festival among the ruins. Bombay Beach is what happens when paradise was an accident and the bill finally arrives. If you're still watching, the back half of this list is where things get genuinely unhinged, so hit that like button so the algorithm knows you can handle it. In 1958, a developer named Nat Mendelsohn bought a massive stretch of Mojave Desert and designed a master-planned metropolis he believed would rival Los Angeles. He laid out hundreds of miles of streets, paved many of them, and waited for the future to arrive. The future declined. Today, California City is the third largest city in California by land area, over 200 square miles, with a population of roughly 14,000 people. From the air, you can see the ghost of Mendelsohn's dream, an enormous grid of cracked, empty roads stretching across the desert like the blueprint of a civilization that never showed up. People bought lots here for decades, sight unseen, waiting for a boom that never came. It is the largest monument to real estate optimism in American history, and the wind whistles through every unbuilt block of it. Number 5. Vallejo. Vallejo declared bankruptcy in 2008, one of the largest California cities ever to do so at the time, and the cuts that followed hollowed out city services for years. But what put Vallejo on the national map was its police department. Investigative reporting revealed that some officers allegedly bent the tips of their badges to commemorate on-duty shootings, a ritual that surfaced amid controversial killings that made this city one of the most scrutinized police jurisdictions in America. The violent crime rate remains among the highest in the state, and the frustrating part is that Vallejo has real bones, a waterfront on San Pablo Bay, historic architecture, a ferry to San Francisco. The city keeps trying to turn the page. The previous chapters keep getting reopened by federal investigators. Number 4. San Bernardino. San Bernardino gave the world the very first McDonald's, opened by the McDonald brothers in 1940, right here on Route 66, which means every drive-through on Earth traces its ancestry to this zip code. What the town got in return is harder to celebrate. San Bernardino filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Its poverty rate sits around 25%. And its violent crime rate of roughly 14.9 per 1,000 residents makes it one of the most dangerous cities in California. In 2015, the city also endured one of the worst terror attacks in modern American history, a wound that 14 families and an entire community still carry. This is a city that once anchored the Inland Empire with railroad jobs, steel, and an Air Force base, and watched all three disappear within a generation. The Golden Arches were born here. Almost none of the gold stayed. Number 3. Oakland. Oakland is the only city in American history to lose 3 major professional sports teams in 5 years. The Warriors left for San Francisco in 2019, the Raiders left for Las Vegas in 2020, and the A's played their final Oakland game in 2024. Meanwhile, the city posts the highest crime numbers in California, roughly 16.9 violent crimes and over 60 property crimes per 1,000 residents. With a police force so understaffed it triages which calls get a response. Wallet Hub ranks Oakland 146th out of 148 American cities for how well it's run. And to be fair, Oakland has earned this. This city produced the Black Panthers, Tower of Power, and half the culture the rest of the Bay Area charges admission for. Oakland isn't hated because it's empty. It's hated because everyone can see exactly how much is being wasted. Now, number 2. I told you it would shock you, and I meant it. Number 2, Vernon. Vernon is a city 5 miles from downtown Los Angeles, with a population of roughly 200 people, and for decades it was arguably the most corrupt municipality in the United States. The city's official slogan is exclusively industrial, because Vernon was built for factories and slaughterhouses, not people. The handful of residents lived in city-owned housing at below-market rent, and prosecutors said their votes kept the same families in power for generations. The longtime mayor was convicted of voter fraud after it turned out he actually lived in a mansion in Hancock Park. One administrator collected as much as $1.65 million in a single year. Another drew the highest pension of any retired official in California. In 2011, the state assembly voted 58-7 to erase the city entirely, and Vernon spent about $9 million on lobbyists to survive. It worked. HBO later based the corrupt city of Vinci and True Detective on this place. Air regulators estimate the cancer risk here runs about 40% above the regional average. 200 residents, one deleted future, and your groceries have probably passed through it. Number 1. Stockton. Stockton was named America's most miserable city by Forbes not once, but twice, and in 2012 it became the largest American city ever to declare bankruptcy at that time. The violent crime rate is the third worst in California at nearly 14 per 1,000 residents. Homicides recently jumped 20% in a single year, and roughly 2/3 of those killings were linked to gang violence. Foreclosures during the housing crash hit Stockton harder than almost anywhere in the country, whole neighborhoods underwater in a city surrounded by actual water. And yet, to be completely fair, Stockton also ran the first mayor-led guaranteed basic income experiment in America, handing residents $500 a month with no strings attached, and researchers found it actually worked. This is a city that keeps volunteering for the future while dragging the worst of the past behind it. Stockton isn't the most hated town in California because it gave up. It's number 1 because it never gets to stop fighting. That's the list. 12 California towns that earned their reputations in 12 very different ways, and every single one of them is still home to people who love it anyway. If this video surprised you, subscribe, because next week I'm covering the towns so overpriced they make these places look like bargains. Drop a comment with the town you think I missed, and I'll see you in the next one.